Hello and welcome to episode 111 of the Happy Baby Show and season 3, the kickoff of season 3 for the Happy Baby Show. Now, if you've been following me on Instagram, you may have seen that my gorgeous gal, Georgie gal, has just turned 1. So at the start of June was her first birthday. Now, I thought that the way that I'd kick off season 3 would be to talk about and reflect about some of the biggest takeaways that I have reflected on in raising her over these last 12 months. Georgie's my third baby. So, when it came to having a baby in these first 12 months, nothing was really quote unquote new to me. However, that didn't mean that our experience didn't allow me to grow as a parent and allow me to take away things that I can then pass on to all of you, especially if this is your first baby. So I'm going to be sharing 7 today. So let's get stuck in. The first reflection that I wanted to share is that it doesn't matter how many babies you've had. As I've said, I've got 3 over here. Breastfeeding is a challenge. So for the lucky few where you just kick off breastfeeding and it's smooth sailing the whole way through, incredible, but I would say that you are the minority. Breastfeeding Georgie in the first 2 weeks was absolute agony. Like, I'm talking way worse than childbirth. And I honestly didn't know if I was going to make it, especially since I had 2 older children, and just being able to find the time to get things right was really hard. However, with a bit of stubbornness on my part, persistence and support, which I'm going to talk about next, we got there. Now, was it all smooth sailing from that point on? Absolutely not. There were lots of highs and lows over the last 12 months. But again, that support and knowledge came into play, which leads me to my second reflection. We got through these tough 2 weeks with the feeding up and downs and all of the agony and all of the issues that I was having with both support and knowledge. Now, support came in the form of my husband and family members cheering me on. First of all, cheering me on was so important because when I wanted to give up, I needed, like, in my soul, in my heart, I didn't actually want to give up, but it was just feeling so hard. Having that support and those cheerleaders was so important, but it was also support in the form of my husband doing what he could while I was busy trying to get position and attachment right, supporting me while I was resting my breasts for a little bit and pumping and just doing whatever he could, basically, that allowed me to focus on what I needed to focus on at that time. The knowledge came in the form of knowing what to do when all the highs and lows hit. So, just like most mums, I was whacked with engorgement and a baby that her mouth was too little for getting a good attachment. I had a fast letdown and navigating what to do to handle a fast letdown, what to do to help her not be so windy from gulping down this fast letdown. We had breast refusal throughout this first 12 months. There was lots of highs and lows. And the power that comes from knowledge in knowing how to troubleshoot those things when they come. We never know what's ahead, but that preparation and knowing where to turn to in being able to navigate all of these things that can happen, that was super, super powerful. The third reflection. All of those well-known sleep regressions you're told your baby will inevitably go through aren't a guarantee. Now, I am 12 months in, and within the 12-month age group, so in the first 12 months, there is a lot of talk in the parenting space about the 4-month sleep regression, 6-month sleep regression, 8-month sleep regression, and 12-month sleep regression. Now, I can say currently, knocking on wood while I'm doing it, but we have not experienced a single one of those sleep regressions. Now, does that mean that Georgie's sleep has been absolutely perfect throughout? Absolutely not. But what I believe is our saving factor and what has allowed us to get through any sort of up and down when it came to sleep is that we were constantly reassessing and tweaking her sleep needs. So there were times when we were faced with, resistance at nap or bedtime or whatever it was, more frequent waking than what she had previously been doing. rather than just saying, oh, well, it must be the 4-month sleep regression, or, oh, well, it must be the 6-month sleep regression. My husband and I were like, right, what needs to change? So we looked at the behavior and went, okay, what is this behavior telling us? What do we need to make different? And this is the reality, is that our babies' sleep needs change super frequently in the first 12 months and even frequently in their period from 1 to 3 years. And sleep regressions can be avoided when we are actually navigating these changes and knowing how to tweak. Reflection number 4. Introducing foods doesn't have to be hard or complicated. Now, I am so unorganized when it comes to meal prep. So Georgie, I swear, has had just quickly whipped up meals, nutritional nonetheless, but I swear she's been eating the same lunch every day for about 3 months, which, just in case you're interested, is avocado fingers, frozen vegetables that I've defrosted, and either chicken strips or salmon, because they're all things that I have pre-prepared, frozen in the fridge that I can quickly defrost, cook up, and it's still nutritional. Now, you might be thinking, well, where's the diversity there, Jen? She gets diversity in foods, tastes, textures, flavors, all of the things with dinner, because she's basically been eating what we have had for dinner, which does vary ever since she was probably around 7 months, I would say, after we got through those initial tastes period. So since she's been 6 months old when we started officially solids, she has had a variety of foods. She's tried a whole bunch of different foods. She's been exposed to all the high allergen foods. Like, we managed to get all of the things ticked off with her still having basically the same breakfast and basically the same lunch since around 7 months. So I just really wanted to highlight that just apply the KISS principle. Keep it simple, silly, stupid, whatever you want to say. Just keep it simple. That is what I want you to take away from that point. And reflect on how you eat. If you eat the same sort of lunch every day, then it doesn't matter if your baby does too. We don't need to be offering them this gourmet, like varied breakfast, lunch, dinner every day. I mean, if you're happy to, amazing. But I know for me, I did not have the time, and that's not how I eat. I basically eat the same thing every day, except dinner is the only thing that varies. But that's just me. Now, reflection number 5. Balance is everything. Now, it took me until Georgie to really understand that. Like, I think it was building. I was working on it. I knew what had to happen, but hasn't been until since I've had Georgie that's really hit me, where I need a balance between being mum and just being Jen. Because we are people. We're not just mums. We have an identity before we became mums, but motherhood can often see us lose ourselves in this role of giving. So with the help of my husband and family, I found a lot more pockets of time for me. And yes, it did require me to ask or to facilitate it, to organize for someone, to have the kids or whatever that looked like. It didn't just happen without me taking action. But it was absolutely worth it. Now, is it perfectly balanced? Absolutely not. But this is a work in progress. And I also feel like as Georgie gets older, that it will be a little bit easier. So the 6th reflection that I wanted to have, speaking of balance, still on the topic of balance, at 6 months, Georgie started having a bottle of formula before bed instead of a breastfeed. Now, this was triggered because I was missing so much being able to put the boys to bed. It was always me putting Georgie to bed because it was like a breastfeed and then straight to bed, and it just made sense. But I was really missing putting the boys to bed. So, and I just did not have capacity to pump during the day. Like, that was just, running a business, 3 children, running a household, all the things. It was too difficult to find those pockets of time to pump enough to keep up with it. So we made this decision, and it was the best decision. It meant that Ryan got more time with Georgie. It meant that I got more time with the boys, and it just helped to delegate who was doing what and all of the things. So for us, it was an absolute win. Now, the lucky last reflection I want to make, and I would say it's probably my most important reflection. Nothing about parenting is linear. So what I mean by this is you don't establish breastfeeding and then you never have a single breastfeeding issue again. Same with bottle feeding. You don't start bottle feeding and you just follow that same formula volume or, how often you're doing feeds. Like, it is constantly changing. Same with sleep. You don't just put your baby, they might be having 2 2-hour naps and then that's it, job done. And, you might find that your baby's able to put themselves to sleep and self-settle. But that doesn't mean that they're forever going to do that. Often what it's going to require is you keeping up with their constant and frequently changing sleep needs in order to maintain where you are at. And this is often where I see families, losing their way because perhaps something did work for a while, but then your baby or toddler's sleep needs have changed. And without you adjusting it, that's when you're getting all of these sleep issues happening. And I've got lots of podcast episodes this season that's going to be diving into this topic a lot deeper. So much changes in your babe's first 12 months and really in their first 3 years. And the power comes in knowing how to tweak, make changes, and keep up with your babe's ever-evolving feeding, sleep, health, and development needs. That is where the power is at. Now, if you need a roadmap to navigating your babe's frequently changing sleep, feeding, health, and development changes, all of the things I've been talking about, then make sure to check out my Happy Baby program, because this is exactly why I made this program. It is a roadmap to knowing what you need to change, when you need to change it, and how you need to change it in terms of their feeding, sleep, health, and development. Now, just so you know too, the Happy Baby program is my self-paced version of my Happy Baby Code membership. So it's just taking all of the lessons I teach inside the online portal and allowing you to have lifetime access to it so that you can navigate all of the things from birth until 3 years. So if you are keen to learn about that, head to www.jenniferbutler.online/Happy Baby Program. That is all one word. I hope you've enjoyed these reflections. I have certainly loved the last 12 months with Miss G, and I'll be looking forward to sharing more about what life looks like in our second year of life. So thank you for joining me today.